last week with the song Open My Eyes. We went through the first verse. We're going to go to the second verse. And the second verse reads, Open my ears that I might hear the voices of truth. Thou sendest clear. And while the waves' notes fall on my ears, everything else, everything false will disappear. And I think about that because I want to hear. I want God to open my eyes, my ears, and the song says mouth too. I want my mind open so I can see and I can understand. And I was praying, Lord, where do I go? What do you? How can I open my ears and have a lesson here? And I think it's neat. You do a daily reading. God will open up your word, and you can go to it. You may not remember it quite right, but that's the neat thing. When you go back and start studying, you go, oh, that's what that says. But we're going to be looking in 1 Kings chapter 13. 1 Kings chapter 13. I don't know if you guys remember this story and this account, but I tell you what, studying out this chapter opened me up to some other things that it's like, oh, I remember that. It puts things in perspective on how you see other parts of the Bible and understanding. But here in chapter 13, give you a quick history. Hopefully you remember it. The kingdom, Israel has been divided with two kingdoms now. And Jeroboam is the king over Israel. So in chapter 1, and behold, there came a man of God out of Judah by the word of the Lord unto Bethel. And Jeroboam stood by the altar of burnt incense, and he cried against the altar in the word of the Lord, and said, O altar, altar, thus saith the Lord, behold, a child shall be born in the house of David, Josiah by name, and unto thee shall he offer the priest of the high place that burn incense upon thee, and the men's bones shall he burn upon thee. And he gave a sign, the same day, saying, This is the sign which the Lord hath spoken. Behold, the altar shall be rent, and the ashes that are upon it shall be poured out. Now, if you remember, Jeroboam, hope I'm saying that right, is the king of Israel, and he didn't want Israel to go to Jerusalem and worship, so he set up these two calves. And this is his altar that he has set up. And so this man of God has come, and he has prophesied against this altar. And he is given that it's going to be broken, and the priest's bones are going to be burnt on this altar, and the men who have at that time will be killed and put on that altar and burnt. And like Tim said, he's sowing some seed. And you know how bold this man of God is. Jeroboam is standing there. I never seen that before. Jeroboam is standing at the altar of incense. And he comes up and said, this is what's going to happen. And I think it's neat. If you read the Bible, and I've heard it, and I'm finding it true, God always gives signs. And there's usually two. One that happens now and one for the future. And that's what's neat about what I've seen. And we'll go on. And in verse 4, and it came to pass, when King Jeroboam heard the saying of the man of God, which had cried against the altar in Bethel, that he put forth his hand from the altar, saying, Lay hold on him. And his hand which he put forth against him dried up, so they could not pull it in again to him. And the altar also was rent, and ashes poured out from the altar according to the sign which the man of God had given by the word of the Lord. What's wild is, ain't that pretty neat? Here Jeroboam has come to worship his calf that he set up, his God. And the man of God has just prophesied, and he just pointed at him, get him. His hand was done. And right then, the first sign was come to pass. It just rent. It just fell apart right there, immediately. I think for me, that'd be pretty scary to know this happened right now. But you know what? If God doesn't open your eyes, you don't see it when it happens right in front of you. Just like what happened right here. In verse 6, and the king answered and said unto the man of God, Entreat now the face of the Lord thy God, and pray for me that my hand may be restored again. And the man of God besought the Lord, and the king's hand restored him again, and it became as it was before. Did you catch that one word? When Jeroboam said, Entreat now the face of the Lord thy God. And what's wild is God talked to Jeroboam when he went to Egypt and told him when he came back, if you follow me, follow my commandments, I will establish your king, your lineage, and you'll be king over Israel. But he didn't hear it. His ears weren't open. He was worried about people leaving his kingdom. He wasn't trusting the Lord. How many times do we do that same thing? Just like Tim, sowing a seed. We need to get out there and sow a seed. Do we trust the situation? Are we scared about what we're doing right there? I just thought of that. Because I don't sow that seed like I ought to. But here Jeroboam prayed, and God healed him. So the first prophecy sign has already been fulfilled. Your hand is withered up and restored, and yet he's seen nothing. He didn't follow anything. He didn't want to see it, I don't think. And in verse 7, and the king said unto the man of God, Come home with me, refresh thyself, and I will give thee reward. And the man of God said unto the king, If thou would give me half thine house, I will not go in with thee, neither will I eat bread nor drink water in this place. For so was it charged me by the word of the Lord, saying, Eat no bread, nor drink water, nor turn again by the same way that thou comest. So he went another way, and returned not by the way that he came to Bethel. So he told the king, Nope, God told me to come here. I'm to prophesy and to leave. That's all I'm supposed to do. I'm not supposed to stay. I'm not supposed to eat. I'm not supposed to drink. This is all I'm supposed to do, and I'm supposed to go. And in verse 11, Now there dwell an old prophet in Bethel, and his sons came and told him all the words that the man of God had done that day in Bethel, the words which he had spoken unto the king. Them they told also their father. So here it's been witnessed about that what's been told, what has happened, about the king's hand being withered and it came back, and because everybody's knowing this. Don't seem to be many people listened either. That's the amazing part, because Israel followed after those calves. So in verse 12, and their father said unto them, what way went he? For his sons had seen what way the man of God went, which came from Judah. And he said to his sons, saddle me the ass. So he saddled him the ass, and he rode thereon, and went after the man of God, and found him sitting under an oak. And he said unto him, art thou the man of God that comest from Judah? And he said, I am. So the old prophet is now, he went after him. I don't know what his intent was, but you find it as you read what he had on his mind, but he went after him. And in verse 15, then said he unto him, come home with me and eat bread. And he said, I may not return with thee, nor go in with thee, neither will I eat bread nor drink water with thee in this place. For it was said to me by the word of the Lord, thou shalt eat no bread nor drink water there, nor turn again to go by the way thou comest. So he's told the prophet, no, I can't go back with you. The Lord said for me, this is my commandments. This is what I'm supposed to do. And in verse 18, and he said unto him, I am a prophet also, as thou art. An angel spake unto me by the word of the Lord, saying, bring him back with thee into thine house, that he may eat bread and drink water. But he lied unto him. This is, as I thought about this scripture, here this prophet lied to get the other prophet to come with him. And maybe he had nobody to talk to that was a prophet. I don't know. But I thought about that song, it says, open my ears that I may hear the voices of truth. But think about it. The man of God spoke the truth, and everybody knew it because the signs were coming true. But then the older prophet went after him, and I think about today, we look up to the older folks, and I'm getting to be one of them older folks. And I remembered as I thought about this, when I was in Votech school, we had different age groups as far as who had studied the longest in the course. It was a 2-year course. So when I first got there, I didn't know anything about heating and air conditioning, refrigeration. I didn't have a clue. I could tear the stuff apart, but I didn't know what I was doing or how it worked or anything. But and I would see we had a shop there, we worked on different things, and we'd go out and work on different units on the school. And as we'd go out, the older ones that'd been in the class longer would be the ones that actually physically done the work. And as I got to watching, I wanted to be a part of that. I went out with them. I went to work on an air conditioner, or furnace, actually, it was in the wintertime. And I wanted to go, and the instructor said, you don't know anything. I said, I know, but I want to go. I want to see what you're doing. Because a lot of times, that's the way I got to get my hands dirty to understand sometimes. So I went, and I actually did the work with one of the senior class members telling me what to do while the instructor's watching over to make sure we're doing it right. So I started learning. And I always thought it was neat that the way that was done. I could see how the older students were were teaching the younger ones a little bit, or the younger ones would go ask advice. I thought, boy, that's neat. I never thought that one day I was the older student, that I was the younger students were coming and talking to me, and I thought that was pretty cool. And in this, where this older prophet is, he's talking to them. He told this young prophet, come back. And he did. And let's see. In verse 19, so he went back with him and did eat bread in his house and drank water. And it came to pass, as they sat at the table, that the word of the Lord came unto the prophet that brought him back. This is the older prophet is getting the word of God. And he cried unto the man of God that came from Judah, saying, Thus saith the Lord, forasmuch as thou hast disobeyed the mouth of the Lord, and hast not kept the commandments which the Lord thy God commanded thee, thou but comest back and hast eaten bread and drank water in the place of the which the Lord has said unto thee, eat no bread and drink no water, thy corpse shall not come unto the sepulchre of thy father. The older prophet said this to the younger prophet, and I think that's kind of neat, really, maybe not neat, but it really hit that older prophet really hard because of what he did. And for sake of time, I'll go on, but think about what that older prophet told the younger prophet. In verse 23, and it came to pass after he had eaten bread and after he had drank, that he saddled him an ass, to wit, for the prophet whom he had brought back. So the older prophet felt bad enough, he gave him his own ass to ride. And in verse 24, and when he was gone, a lion met him by the way and slew him, and his carcass was cast in the way, and the ass stood by it, and the lion also stood by the carcass. Ain't that amazing? A lion killed a prey, but yet ate it not, and the ass didn't even run off. The donkey stands right there, and the lion's right there too. God controls animals, and he uses them just like here. And in verse 25, and behold, men passed by and saw the carcass in the way, and the lion standing by the carcass, and they came and told it in the city where the old prophet dwelt. I think it's kind of neat. How would you feel if you seen a man laying in the road with the horse beside him and a lion that just killed him sitting there too? How quick are you gonna run by? You're gonna find it's gonna scare you. But the neat thing about this was all taken back and told in the city. A witness back in the city. In verse 26, and when the prophet that brought him back from the way heard thereof, he said, it is the man of God who was disobedient unto the word of the Lord. Therefore the Lord hath delivered him unto the lion, which hath tore him and slain him according to the word of the Lord, which he spake unto him. Here, it's kind of bringing everything, all the prophecies together, because now the old prophet knows that what the young prophet did was wrong, what he said was going to come true, and what he had said to that prophet came true. I mean, I don't know I don't know where this old prophet was as far as following God, if he was where he was in his life, but I wonder. He got to thinking, God's real. God, this is real. God's really doing this. And in verse 27, and he spake unto his sons, saying, saddle me the ass. And they saddled him, and he went and found his carcass cast in the way, and the ass and the lion standing by the carcass, and the lion had not eaten the carcass, nor tore the ass. And the prophet took up the carcass of the man of God, and laid it upon the ass, and brought it back. And the lion and the old prophet came to the city, and mourned, and to bury him. You think about it, he went, I wonder, he's seen the same setup. The lion there, the ass. I don't know when the lion ran off, but the old prophet went and got his body, and he brought it back, and he mourned. I think he mourned for two reasons. I think he mourned because he knew he had sinned, and he also knew that this man had followed after him. And he also, this is a man of God that was killed because of me. Verse 30, and he laid the carcass in his own grave, and they mourned over him, saying, alas, my brother. And it came to pass, after he had buried him, that he spake unto his sons, saying, when I am dead, then bury me in the sepulchre wherein the man of God is buried. Lay my bones beside his bones. For the sayings which he cried by the word of the Lord against the altar in Bethel, and against all the house of the high places which are in the cities of Samaria, shall surely come to pass. I think that's kind of neat. The old prophet got it. He heard, and he knew what he said was going to come true. And I tell you, I'm not going to go into it, but I want you to look at, if you don't remember what he prophesied as far as Joash, that was neat when I seen that, and I put those names together. It's hard for me to put the names together because I can't hardly pronounce them. But realize what he said and how long ago, when it came to pass. It actually came to pass, I'm not sure what time, but it was in 2 Kings. I'll give you that much. Go study that out. It's neat when I look at it, when I see something in the Bible, that God showed me this. I want his word. I want to hear it. And I want all this stuff that's false to just fall away. And today, there is so much out there that's not even close. Even Baptist churches, not just the other religions, it's even our churches that are falling away. They're not following after God and what he says. They're not following a Bible. Just like Jesus told them, and that you guys follow traditions. You're not following my commandments, you're following your commandments. And we need to pray that the Lord will open our eyes to hear the truth. I know, I tell you what, there's little sayings you'll see on all over the place. It's biblical scripture and it's Bible. Well, when you read it, it's not quite right. Look it up. Regina will find something and goes, oh, I like this, but that don't sound right. And she'll get out her phone and look, no, that's not even close. That's not right. And there's other sayings that we have that we follow, or some people follow, that where'd they come from? There's a lot of traditions we have in this world that come from the wrong religions. They're not even close. And I think that's something we ought to all look at. And, don't take my word for it. Please don't. Go study something. Go study it out. That's what's the neat. I get it. As much as I don't like being up here because I don't want to mess up. But when it comes to studying and sitting down, I get excited when I sit down and start studying and reading and knowing this is what God gave me to give to you. And sometimes what I give you, what I go over and what I've learned, it's not what you hear, not what you get out of it. That's neat. But hopefully this has been a help to you and it help you study. Go find out the prophecy and how it came true. It's really kind of neat. And I don't think it's ever known what this man, the man of God's name actually is. It's just the man of God. And that's something to be known as. But we'll be dismissed with a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, and thank you for allowing us to come into your house to worship you. And Lord, just bless the word that we hear. Lord, that you'll just open our eyes to it, to see it, to follow you. And Lord, help us all the fake stuff, the stuff that's not quite right, that we'll put it aside. We won't hear it, and then we'll follow you. And the stuff that's not quite right, that we'll go look it up and find out what's right about it, and then find out what the truth is. And Lord, just bless this church, its outreaches, each one that has parts. Bless Uncle Jerry and Pat, Lord, and healing of their body. And Lord, bless Regina and bring her back, Lord, and each one of them to bring them back healthy, and others that we know of that are not here for whatever reason. Lord, bless the rest of the service. Bless Dad as pastor. And Lord, just forgive us of our many sins.